Virgo, you didn't arrive here by chance. At this exact moment, as your heart beats a little differently, the universe has guided you to this message. There's a reason this video found you, a reason your soul stopped scrolling and your spirit leaned closer. You may think it was random, but nothing about this moment is random. This is a divine appointment. You've been holding yourself together for too long, smiling through the silence, pretending the cracks don't hurt, keeping the world from seeing how tired your soul truly feels. But the universe saw. God saw. Every time you whispered, "I'm fine," while your heart trembled in quiet exhaustion, that whisper was heard. And this, right here, is the reply. There comes a time when the cosmic rhythm pauses, when even the stars seem to hold their breath, waiting for you to remember who you are. And Virgo, that time is now. You've carried the weight of everyone's world while forgetting your own. You've poured kindness into people who mistook it for weakness, and you've kept faith when everything in you wanted to give up. But hear me, your endurance was never unnoticed. The universe has been preparing something for you, something that could only unfold after the breaking, after the stillness, after the surrender. So before we begin, take a breath. Feel it. The air entering your lungs is proof you were never alone in this fight. You are standing at the threshold of a new frequency, one that asks you not to struggle, but to receive. The same pain that once silenced you is now the key that will unlock your next chapter. This message is not about prediction, it's about remembrance. You are not broken, you are being reshaped. Every delay, every disappointment, every unanswered prayer was never rejection, it was redirection toward alignment. The divine didn't forget you, it was rearranging the timing so that when your blessing arrives, you'll be ready to hold it with peace, not fear. So listen closely, Virgo, because what you're about to hear may change the way you see everything, including yourself. Before we go deeper into this message, take a moment to support our growing spiritual community. Like this video, share it with someone who needs light today, and subscribe to Mindfulness Meditation, where every story is a journey back to the soul. Your presence here fuels us to keep creating messages that awaken, heal, and remind you of your divine path. Now, let us begin. The silent weight Virgo carries. You've always been the calm in everyone else's storm, haven't you, Virgo? The one who listens when no one else can. The one who holds the fragile pieces of others' worlds together, even when your own heart trembles beneath the quiet. People see your grace, your patience, your order, but they rarely see the exhaustion that lives behind your eyes. You've become so accustomed to holding the light for others that you've forgotten what it feels like to stand in its warmth yourself. There's a certain kind of loneliness that only old souls understand, the loneliness of being needed but not truly known. You move through rooms like a sanctuary, absorbing chaos and returning serenity. And yet, when night falls, when the noise fades and the masks drop, you hear the echo of your own unspoken weariness. You smile, you say, "I'm fine," because somewhere along the line you learned that strength is silence, and vulnerability is weakness. But the truth, Virgo, is that silence can become a cage, and even the strongest hearts deserve to rest. You see, this isn't just emotional fatigue, it's soul exhaustion. It's what happens when empathy turns into overextension, when giving becomes your identity. The healer forgets that they, too, are human. You patch wounds you didn't cause, carry guilt that isn't yours, and chase perfection like a finish line that keeps moving farther away. You've mistaken endurance for peace. You've been taught that selflessness is virtue, but no one ever told you that self-neglect is not noble, it's slow erasure. There's something profoundly sacred about admitting you're tired. It's not surrender, it's truth. And truth, Virgo, is the first language of healing. I often think of people like you as living archives of quiet strength. The world leans on you because your steadiness feels eternal. But even the earth tilts, even stars collapse before they are reborn. So why should you not pause? Why should you not weep, not rage, not whisper into the night, "I can't hold this anymore"? The universe does not judge your breaking point, it honors it. For that's where transformation begins. Think of every season you've endured, the friendships you outgrew but stayed to protect, the family burdens you carried because no one else would, the unspoken apologies you never received but forgave anyway. You've become a mosaic of quiet sacrifices, stitched together by invisible threads of responsibility. But my dear Virgo, healing isn't found in fixing everything, it's found in allowing something to remain unfinished without guilt. There is a moment, a sacred private awakening, when you stop asking, "Who will take care of them if I don't?" and instead whisper, "Who will take care of me if I don't?" That moment is not selfishness. It's self-preservation. It's the soul remembering its own worth. The lesson life offers you now is not about endurance. It's about release. The art of letting others hold their own lessons, their own weight. You were never meant to be the perpetual caretaker of the world. You were meant to be whole. You were meant to experience peace not as a duty, but as a right. So if your smile feels heavy tonight, if the stillness feels like 1,000 unspoken words pressing against your chest, know this, the universe sees you. It sees the nights you stayed awake holding invisible wounds. It sees the love you gave without return. And it is calling you back, to your own center, to the warmth you've shared so freely, to the light you forgot was yours. There is grace in your gentleness, Virgo. But there is also power in your pause. Let yourself be held by the silence you once feared. You don't need to prove your strength by carrying everything alone. You prove it by finally putting some of it down. Take this as your permission, to rest, to cry, to unravel, to rebuild. The world will not fall apart without your constant vigilance. But you, my dear Virgo, might finally fall into yourself, into peace, into wholeness, into the quiet truth that even healers deserve healing. If these words resonate with the weight you've carried, take a deep breath and type in the comments, I choose to rest. I choose to heal. Because tonight, Virgo, the universe is not asking you to give more, it's asking you to finally receive. The quiet loneliness of Virgo, when the strong one finally breaks. There's a kind of silence that only Virgo understands, the kind that fills a crowded room, when laughter echoes and lights shimmer, but your soul feels unseen. You've always been the listener, the healer, the one who notices when others are hurting. You read emotions like ancient scripts and tend to broken hearts like they're fragile porcelain. But who tends to you, Virgo? Who looks beyond your calm smile and sees the quiet ache behind your steady eyes? You give love in its purest form, the kind that doesn't demand attention, the kind that fixes things no one else even notices are broken. Yet somewhere along the way you began to wonder, do they love me for who I am, or for what I bring into their lives? That question, whispered late at night when the world goes still, is where the loneliness begins. You've built your strength like a cathedral, brick by brick, out of patience and service. You've taught yourself not to need much, not to expect much. It's a noble armor, quiet, dignified, reliable. But it's also the very thing that traps you inside your own fortress. The world has grown so accustomed to your resilience that they forget it came at a cost. You've become so good at being okay that no one remembers to ask if you really are. And then, it happens, that one moment when something breaks. It's not loud. It's not cinematic. It's subtle, almost invisible. Maybe a friend you trusted vanished when you needed them. Maybe someone you gave your heart to treated your loyalty as convenience. Or maybe it was just the slow erosion of faith, that hollow realization that no matter how much you give, some people will always take and never see. That's the crack in the cathedral. The quiet fracture in the architecture of your trust. When this happens, Virgo, it's not just disappointment, it's disorientation. You start questioning everything. Was my kindness foolish? Was my effort wasted? You replay every moment, every choice, as if you could rewrite the past by understanding it better. But healing doesn't come from logic. It comes from truth. And the truth is, you were never wrong for loving too deeply. You were simply surrounded by people who couldn't hold what you gave. I've seen this pattern in so many Virgos, a sacred wound that becomes both their curse and their gift. They're born to serve light, but the world often mistakes that light for a resource rather than a blessing. And so they keep dimming themselves, trying to fit in, trying not to overwhelm others with their quiet brilliance. But here's the irony, it's that very dimming that deepens their loneliness. Because the soul can't survive pretending to be smaller than it is. There's an old story, one that philosophers and mystics alike used to tell, about the hidden lamp. It said that every time a lamp hides its light to protect others' eyes, the flame inside grows colder. Until one day, it no longer shines at all. The only way to keep the flame alive is to let it burn freely, even if it blinds a few who aren't ready for its glow. Virgo, you are that hidden lamp. And the world needs your warmth, not your silence. So perhaps this loneliness you're feeling isn't punishment. Perhaps it's a sacred redirection, a call to return home to yourself. Because when your heart breaks, it's not collapsing, it's expanding. It's creating room for a new kind of love, one that doesn't require you to disappear to be accepted. And yes, There will still be moments when you stand among others and feel like no one truly sees you. But in that moment, remember this. You are being seen by the universe itself. Every act of quiet kindness, every unseen effort, every tear you swallowed so others could smile, none of it was wasted. Those moments were bricks in the temple of your becoming. The question is no longer, who is there when I fall? It's, who am I when I rise again? Because you will rise, Virgo, not as the savior, not as the healer, but as the one who finally knows their worth. And when you do, you'll realize that your loneliness was never emptiness. It was the silence before your soul spoke its truth. You are not meant to be everything for everyone. You are meant to be whole for yourself. And when you start living from that place, from fullness rather than depletion, the right people will find you. Not because they need you, but because they see you. The sacred message. You deserve the love you give. There are moments when life stops you in your tracks, not through thunder or chaos, but through something quiet. A video that appears on your screen. A phrase that feels strangely personal. And somehow, deep within, it's not random. It's a whisper. A divine nudge. A reminder from the universe that says, I see you. You, who have carried love like a vow. You, who have given without keeping score. You, who have stayed long after others would have left, believing that love, if pure enough, could heal everything. And yet, here you are, weary not because you stopped believing in love, but because you gave so much of it away that you forgot to keep a little for yourself. There's something sacred about people like you. People who pour into others until the cup runs dry, who hold hope for hearts that no longer remember how to beat softly. The world applauds your kindness, but few understand the cost. Love, when it's constant and unconditional, becomes both a blessing and a quiet burden. Because it asks you to stay open in a world that often chooses indifference. But tonight, Virgo, tonight, soul of light, this is not a story about your giving. This is a story about your receiving. You've been conditioned to believe that love must be earned, that your worth is proven through what you do for others. But that's the illusion. The truth is simpler, more beautiful, more eternal. You deserve to be loved just for existing. Not for fixing. Not for understanding. Not for showing up perfectly, but simply for being you. Do you remember the first time someone saw you, really saw you, not for your competence or your calm, but for the softness behind it? That fleeting moment when you didn't have to explain yourself, because their presence said, you don't have to try here. That, my dear, is the kind of love your soul has been searching for all along. The universe brings this message not as a coincidence, but as a call to awaken your own worth. Because divine love is not transactional, it is reflective. The love you give mirrors the love you are capable of receiving. And if you've spent years building homes in the hearts of others, perhaps it's time to move back into your own. There's an ancient truth written in every sacred text, though often hidden in plain sight. The divine does not measure you by what you offer, but by how open your heart remains after it's been broken. Your compassion, your endurance, your forgiveness, they are holy acts. But so is resting. So is saying no. So is standing still long enough to let love find you for once. You see, healing doesn't come from chasing love, it comes from remembering that you are already loved, eternally and unconditionally, by something greater than you can comprehend. Whether you call it God, the universe, or the pulse of creation itself, it has been watching you all along. Watching as you gave your all. Watching as you mended what others shattered. And now, it wants to give back. Maybe this message found you tonight because the divine decided you've done enough proving. Enough waiting. Enough hiding your tenderness behind strength. This is not a demand to love harder, it's an invitation to receive deeper. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel your heart, not the one that endures, but the one that longs. Let this truth rise like a prayer from your chest. I deserve to be loved as deeply as I love. Don't just think it, speak it. Whisper it into your palms. Type it below. Let it become your signature to the universe. Because when you declare that truth, something shifts. You stop begging for crumbs and start recognizing the banquet that was meant for you all along. You are not invisible. You are not too much, nor not enough. You are a masterpiece of patience, grace, and divine design, and the same love that moves the stars is moving toward you right now. So if this message has reached you in a moment of quiet fatigue, take it as a sacred sign. The universe has seen your heart, and it is responding. Write it, say it, claim it. I deserve to be loved as deeply as I love. This isn't just a sentence, it's a ritual. A key turning in a long-locked door. A divine decree that realigns your soul with the truth it's always known. You were never meant to only give love. You were meant to be love, and to receive it in full. If this found you at the right moment, don't scroll past it. Pause. Breathe. Type in the comments, I deserve to be loved as deeply as I love. Let the universe see your signature of faith. Tonight, Virgo, it's not reminding you to love harder, it's reminding you that you are worthy of being loved back. Virgo's awakening. The sacred art of knowing who's real. There comes a moment, Virgo, when the noise of the world fades and all that's left is truth. Raw, uncloaked, uncomfortably clear. You've spent so many years giving, nurturing, holding together what others were too careless to protect. You've mistaken your empathy for duty, your love for a lifelong contract of sacrifice. But now, something inside you is shifting. You are beginning to see that love without reciprocity is not devotion, it's depletion. You were never meant to save everyone. That was never the assignment. Yet, like the quiet healer you are, you believed that if you poured enough light into others, the darkness in them would soften. And sometimes it did, but more often, it consumed you. You became the sun in a sky that no one looked up to thank. They basked in your warmth, took your constancy for granted, and when your light dimmed, they walked away searching for another sunrise. But here's the turning point, the awakening that changes everything. You stop chasing. You stop fixing. You stop proving. You take your hands off the wheel of everyone else's chaos and, for the first time, watch who still chooses to stay when you offer nothing but silence. That silence becomes your teacher. Because what remains in that stillness is the truth, who is real, and who was only there for what your light could give them. There is an ancient lesson hidden in every Virgo heart. Discernment. Not judgment, not bitterness. Discernment. The ability to see through the mask, to feel the energy behind the words, to know the difference between love that feeds your soul and attachment that drains it. This, my friend, is your evolution. The sacred separation between those who truly love you and those who simply love how you make them feel about themselves. And it's not easy. The moment you stop overgiving, some people will call you cold. The moment you set a boundary, they'll label you distant. But understand this, your peace will always offend those who benefited from your chaos. When you no longer bend, they'll twist the narrative to make you the villain. Let them. The truth doesn't need defending, it simply reveals itself in time. I've seen this cycle unfold in so many Virgo souls, the quiet unraveling of illusion. It's almost spiritual, the way clarity arrives. You begin to remember who you were before the world convinced you that love must be earned through service. You start to see relationships as mirrors, not anchors, some reflecting your growth, others reflecting the wounds you've outgrown. And slowly, with grace, you begin to let go. Not in anger, but in wisdom. It reminds me of the Stoic philosophers, who said, you can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. The same applies to the soul. When you stop rescuing, you stop repeating. When you stop apologizing for your boundaries, you stop attracting people who test them. That's when discernment becomes not just an act of survival, but an act of self-respect. You see, Virgo, your compassion was never the problem. It was your silence when compassion turned into self-erasure. You thought loving deeply meant losing yourself quietly. But real love, the kind that lasts, doesn't require you to disappear. It meets you in your fullness, not your fragments. So here is your challenge, your sacred test. Withdraw your energy and watch what happens. Don't chase. Don't explain. Don't perform. Just observe. You'll see the truth so clearly it might break your heart, but it will also set you free. Because what remains when you stop giving is what was meant for you all along. This is the season of refinement, Virgo. The universe isn't taking people away. It's showing you who they truly are. You're not losing, you're being liberated. Every time you choose authenticity over appeasement, you align closer to your divine purpose. And yes, it's lonely at first. The silence after detachment can feel like winter, stark, cold, endless. But beneath that stillness, something new is taking root. Peace, clarity, power. The kind of strength that no longer depends on approval. One day, you'll look back and realize that the people who left when you stopped saving them were never your loss, they were the lesson. And the few who stayed, who saw your soul even when you stopped shining for them, they are your true circle, your mirror, your home. So take this moment, Virgo. Step out of the performance. Stand in your truth. and let the sorting happen. Because the universe is not punishing you, it's purifying your path. In the end, you'll understand, not everyone deserves access to your light. But those who do, they'll never make you question your worth again. Virgo's transformation, the art of loving without losing yourself. There comes a time, Virgo, when you stop asking, what do they need from me? And start whispering, what do I need for myself? It's not selfishness. It's evolution. After years of giving, fixing, and forgiving, you finally begin to understand that love is not measured by how much you endure, but by how much of yourself you allow to remain intact. You've lived much of your life as the quiet backbone, the one who remembers, who repairs, who reaches out even when no one reaches back. You believed that loyalty meant endurance, that to love meant to carry, that selflessness was a virtue. But what no one told you was that too much selflessness slowly becomes self-erasure. You began fading behind the people you were trying to lift. You thought that to be needed was to be loved. But the truth, Virgo, is that being needed and being valued are not the same thing. This is your season of transformation, not a gentle shift, but a sacred rebuilding. You are learning how to return to yourself after years of scattering your energy across everyone else's storms. You are learning to say no without guilt, to rest without shame, to protect your peace as fiercely as you once protected others. Some will call you different, distant, maybe even cold. But don't let their words confuse your clarity. You're not changing, you're remembering. Remembering that your worth was never supposed to be negotiated through exhaustion. In this rebirth, you'll notice something remarkable. When you stop overextending, the noise fades. The people who were only drawn to your light for warmth drift away. What remains is truth, the ones who love you for you. The ones who don't flinch when you stop performing, when you stop healing everyone else and simply exist in your own imperfection. And that's the revelation. True love doesn't demand self-destruction as proof of loyalty. It doesn't ask you to prove your goodness by running yourself into the ground. It doesn't shrink your spirit or silence your needs. Real love honors you, not the version of you that gives endlessly, but the one who breathes, rests, and shines freely. There's a beauty in this quiet awakening, a kind of grace that comes from finally being at peace with disappointing the wrong people. Because you will. The moment you stop being the eternal caretaker, some will withdraw their affection. They'll say, "You've changed." But what they really mean is, "You stopped making my comfort your priority." And that's okay. The people meant for your next chapter won't need your suffering to feel secure. They'll celebrate your peace as much as your presence. Think of the phoenix, one of the oldest symbols of transformation. It doesn't rise by resisting the fire, it rises through it. That's what you're doing now, Virgo. You're burning away the version of yourself that thought love required pain. You're stepping into a softer kind of strength, one that doesn't need to prove itself by endurance. You've learned that boundaries are not walls, they're sanctuaries. And the energy you once spent saving others now flows back into rebuilding you. And as this transformation deepens, something even more profound happens. You stop identifying as the healer. You realize that healing was never your job, it was simply the natural result of your presence. Your light isn't meant to be harvested, it's meant to be honored. You don't have to fix others to be valuable. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love. You don't have to keep giving to deserve peace. There is a quiet power in simply existing. No performance, no striving, no validation chase. You, in your stillness, are enough. That realization is the true liberation. It's the moment when you look at your reflection and see not the caretaker, not the martyr, not the strong one, but the human being beneath it all. Tender, whole, deserving. And maybe that's the ultimate awakening, to love yourself not for what you do, but for who you are when you do nothing at all. When the world grows quiet and you're left alone with your own heartbeat, you'll find that peace is not found in being everything for everyone. It's found in being true to yourself, fiercely, gently, completely. So let this be your declaration, Virgo. I no longer destroy myself to prove my devotion. Let that truth settle into your bones. Let it become your new way of loving, balanced, bright, sacred. Because when you protect your own light, you don't just survive, you illuminate. And those who truly belong in your orbit, they won't just admire your glow, they'll help you keep it alive. Breathe. Let this moment be the quiet after the storm, the space where everything you've carried finally softens. You've walked through the ache, you've met your own shadow, and now you arrive here, where silence no longer feels empty but sacred. This is not the end of your story, Virgo. It is the moment your energy begins to settle back into harmony. You've spent so long being the one who gives light, the one who holds others together. But even the sun rests beyond the horizon, not to disappear, but to renew its warmth. And so do you. You do not have to keep shining for everyone at the expense of your own glow. Love that demands exhaustion is not love, it is depletion. The lesson that has unfolded here is simple, yet profound. You do not need to sacrifice yourself to be worthy of affection. Real love does not ask you to shrink, to prove, or to endure. Real love meets you where you are, holds your humanity, and still stays. As you listen now, let the words wash over you like a blessing. You are seen. You are precious. You are enough even when you are not doing, fixing, or giving. The world does not need a perfect Virgo, it needs a whole one. Every breath you take is already proof of your worth. Every tear you've shed was a prayer answered in understanding. Before this video ends, take a moment to seal what you've received. Whisper it aloud or write it below. I deserve to be loved as deeply as I love. Let it be your vow, not to the world, but to your own soul. A quiet agreement that from this day forward, your kindness will no longer cost you your peace. And when you leave this space, carry this calm with you. Let it remind you that healing is not forgetting the pain, but learning to walk gently with it. You are not defined by who hurt you, or by how long you held on, you are defined by your return to stillness. This is the completion of your circle, Virgo. Not a conclusion, but a beginning, the moment your light learns not just to give, but finally to receive.